Hey guys, Bassin, East Texas here. I was going to do a quick video for y'all on how we fish big swim baits down here in East Texas. Stay tuned and enjoy. Step 1 to big swim baiting is picking a big swim bait. For us, we mainly use shad and bluegill big swim baits because that's what we have down here in East Texas. In other parts of the country, y'all might use trout swim baits, or even in some parts musky looking swim baits, because that's what y'all's fish feed on. Down here for us in East Texas, they eat shad. So we're going to go with shad pattern swim baits like this one right here. And there's not really a specific brand. So, I mean, just if you go on Tackle Warehouse, you go on Tackle Warehouse, I'll let y'all choose the ones y'all want to use. So you go to Tackle Warehouse, go to the big swim baits, soft body section, and just choose which shad swim bait looks the best to y'all. As far as bluegill swim baits, there's not a set brand on that either. Just go to their hard swim baits, or you can go to their soft swim baits and pick out a bluegill one that sets up for y'all. So step number 1 is picking your swim bait that fits your equipment. Step number 2 is picking the right rod. For me, we like to use heavy action rods and nothing under 7.5 feet long. So get you a good stiff sturdy rod to handle these big baits, and I mean nothing can go wrong. If you use too light of an action rod, this big bait will snap that rod in half. So get you a good big beefy rod that can handle these big baits. So step number 2, pick your right rod. Step number 3 is picking the right reel. For us, we don't use anything over a 5:2 gear ratio reel. Reason being, we want those strong gears in that lower set gear ratio. Whenever we set the hook, we can turn in that fish's head by setting the hook really hard, and then you turn the fish's head by cranking on the reel handle, and you just grind that fish to the boat. And once you get it in the boat, then you take pictures, then you play with it. Whenever you're fighting that fish, you don't play with it. You set the hook, you grind the reel handle, that fish is in the boat, so he cannot get any leverage with these big swim baits because these weigh a lot, anywhere between 1 and 8 ounces. So you don't want this fish to have this bait hanging out of its mouth where it can flop around and fly out. So whenever it's in the roof of its mouth, you keep it in the roof of its mouth by grinding on the reel handle, loading up with your rod, and just cranking it into the boat. So step number 3 is picking the right reel. And finally, step number 4 is picking the right line. For us, we use nothing but monofilament on all our stuff, especially big swim baits. So it does have a little bit of give in it so they can fight, but you don't want them to be able to fight so much they can move and turn and twist and all that. You want to have just enough where they do have a little bit of give in that line, so if they do pull, it doesn't just snap your line and you're not torquing down knots really hard. So just be sure to use mono and nothing under 20-pound mono for your big swim baits. So step number 4 is picking the right line. Step number 5 to using them is when to fish them. For us, you can fish a big swim bait all year round, but usually whenever you're fishing a big swim bait, you're looking for that bigger bite. So for us, the main time we throw big swim baits is going to be in the winter time, whenever a fish only might eat once or twice a week. But whenever it eats once or twice a week, it's eating a big bait like this big swim bait. So I mean, a 2-pounder, yes, he'll hit this, but a 10-pounder is a lot greater chance of hitting this bait in the winter time. So when is in the winter time. Step number 6 is choosing where to fish them on your lake. And you go to your lake and you know there's this one point, or you go to your pond, there's this one spot you know there's a big fish living, but you can never get her to bite. The reason being, you're not throwing any bait that appeals to her. A big swim bait is invading her territory, and bass, big bass, are very, very territorial. So if you throw that big chunk of meat, that big swim bait, through her land, through her territory, she cannot ignore the fact there is something invading her home, and she is going to go kill it. So be sure to throw it off the main parts in your pond. Like for us, the main point for us would be on points, would be around humps, would be on brush piles, over deep docks, places like that. Places you know big fish are living, but you just can't get them to bite. So step number 6 is picking the right location. Step number 7 is knowing how to fish a big swim bait. Really, all it is with a big shad or a big bluegill swim bait, you're going to chunk it out there and you're going to reel it in. You're going to throw it just like you would a chatterbait or a spinnerbait or a crankbait. You're going to chunk it out there and reel it in. Forget you're throwing a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-inch bait and just act like you're throwing a spinnerbait. You're going to chunk it out there and you're going to crank it in. You're going to chunk it out there and you're going to crank it in. Now, yes, in the winter time, you can do it. Chunk it out there, let it sink to the bottom, slow crawl it back in. And by slow, I mean it's this slow. I mean, it'll literally be you're turning your reel handle at that pace. That works great whenever you're out out on the west coast in California or up north where they got a lot of trout and you're throwing a big trout imitator. There's been a lot of very big fish caught like that, but how we throw them down here in East Texas in this warmer water is you're just going to chunk them out there and we're going to reel them in just like a normal spinnerbait. Hey guys, thanks for watching Bassin, East Texas. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe so I can keep filling y'all's brains with this great fishing information. Thanks for watching. God bless y'all.